welcome and perhaps an outlook of what to expect for the day. We have several presentations lined up. It's going to be a very busy day. From my side, I need you to, as a participant, also to note that we are live streaming this session as well as the full inquiry, so the evidence that you will be providing will also be available to members of the public. I'm going to hand you over to Commissioner Ntuli to take us through the administrative points for the day, and we thank you for making time to visit us here at the Commission. Thank you, Commissioner Ntuli.
Molweni tata. Ninjani? Isiphilile. Ngathi bakubekele microphone. Yes. Welcome. My name is Commissioner Ntuli, as indicated by Dr. Kata. I'm also joined on my left by Dr. Fobosi, who is a fellow panelist, an external panelist from the Fort Hare University. And together we will be engaging with yourself this morning. For purposes, therefore, of administration, do you have any objections to taking the oath this morning?
No, I do not have.
I think your microphone is still off. Then, having indicated no objections, may I kindly ask you to stand to read your full name, surname, institution that you represent, as well as the position that you occupy, please.
My name is Mcabisi Patrick Nanjola. I'm the municipal manager for Sahrc District Municipality.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nanjola, MM, and welcome. Having indicated no objections to taking the oath, do you swear that the evidence you shall give this morning will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, kindly raise your right hand and state, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Thank you so much. You may be seated. You are duly sworn in. You will have, I see that you have prepared a presentation for us. Thank you very much. You will have about 20 to 30 minutes to present your presentation, and thereafter the panel will engage with you. Over to you, MM.
Thank you very much, Commissioner and the members of the panel. As I've already indicated, my name is Mcabisi Nanjola. I'm representing Sahrc and employed there as the municipal manager from the 1st of March 2023. I must state, of course, that I've been with the institution for the past 5 years or so as a director responsible for institutional support and advancement. Honorable Commissioner, my presentation will cover 6 areas. I'm just going to give an overview of Sahrc, its jurisdiction, and zoom directly into what I'm expected to talk about, which is the impact of the poor state of roads in the province, but particularly focusing in our district, Sahrc. Sahrc comprises 3 local municipalities, which is Walter Sisulu, Sinqu, and Elundini. Walter Sisulu is made up of Venterstad, Stensberg, Beggerstop, Alwal North, and James Talata. And Sinqu is made up of Stegspruit, Lady Grey, Rhodes, Buckley East, and Rousseau. Whilst Elundini comprises Mount Fletcher, Maclear, and Yuki towns. So that is the jurisdiction of the municipality, which has more than 2,000 square kilometers. And so Walter Sisulu is more to the west of the district, whilst Lundini is to the east of the district. And then you have on the middle and towards the northern side, Sahrc local municipality. Now, as Joe Kabi, we are not, maintenance of roads is not our function, but we do perform roads maintenance as an agent of the Department of Roads, but only in the area of Walter Sisulu. We are responsible for the maintenance of farm roads, proclaimed provincial farm roads in that municipality. The rest of other municipalities, local municipalities, are taken care of by the Department of Roads, other service providers. We are more of a service provider to the department, Eastern Cape Department of Roads. Excuse me. In terms of the overview, Commissioner, we just want to indicate that about 80% of our population lives in the rural areas and is reliant on gravel roads. Only 20% are in towns with streets and tarred roads, which are maintained by the local municipalities. There are, of course, challenges with roads maintenance, and those challenges affect about the entire 80% of the population. We also wish to point out that Jokabi is mountainous with a rainfall of about 600 millimeters in the east and 1,000 millimeters in the west. We're mentioning this because it has a direct bearing on the maintenance of roads. We generally consider it as a high rainfall area requiring constant maintenance on gravel roads. Now, with the climate change, we have experienced quite violent downpours, leading to the scouring of drainage channels, collapse of bridges, loss of surface gravel, and therefore the need for more maintenance. When we look at the impact, communities have been reporting problems about the impassability of the roads. They have been reporting that they are finding it difficult to access some of the services like clinics, like schools, and getting to towns. With the result that the public transport prices have just, are becoming unbearable for them. Scholar transport issues have always come to the fore as well, as a result of poor road conditions, resulting in children not always being able to attend school on time, and at times being driven on unsafe roads. We're also making a point that poor roads impact on the frequency of maintenance and supervisory visits to outlying infrastructure and services, resulting in their decline. With the outreach programs that the Honorable Executive Mayor often have in the communities, we do get lots of complaints around the roads. Now, when we look at agriculture and forestry, we find that they do struggle to get their goods out of the rural areas and have to move produce away from their areas of production or source of production before it can be collected by articulated vehicles. The cost is therefore being pushed onto the producer to move their product through other means to get access to drivable roads. This reduces their competitiveness and reduces their viability. We're making an example of bringing a fertilizer, seeds, machinery to enable agriculture as one of the key challenges that the district is experiencing. District being its economic driver being agriculture and forestry, mainly, particularly in the area of Elundini. We're also making a point that poor roads have impact on tourism and service industry. Some tourist attractions and accommodation are longer accessible, and the tourists decline to visit, our area due to road conditions. Case in point is our ski resort in the town of Rhodes in Berkeley East. It's one of the tourist destinations that is well known throughout the country and even overseas. So we also saying as a result, the poor roads affect competitiveness in the tourism market. Joe Kabi's largest economic activity is government services, including grants. The cost of getting to government services when roads are in a poor state places a large burden on the poor communities. Communities report problems with getting to, that I've already made that point. So as Joe Kabi, we then took a decision through the council to engage the Department of Transport with a view to allowing us to maintain roads in other local municipalities and not only focus in the area of Walter Sisulu. And I must say, without blowing our own trumpet, that we have not had any serious complaints about poor state of roads, gravel roads, in these areas where we are responsible as Joe Kabi. And we are trying as much as possible to communicate with the communities when there are road closures and when there is a road that we think that is a risk or poses serious risk to them, so that they become aware and try as much as possible not to use those roads. Now, as I've indicated, we are only performing the function of road maintenance on behalf of the Department of Transport in the municipalities that I've just mentioned. And from time to time, we do consult with the communities to get feedback on the standard of service that we are providing to them and their state of happiness with the service that we are rendering. And as I've said so far, we have not had any of the complaints, major complaints. There would be here and there, and those would be attended to immediately. We've had a number of roads in the district affected by disaster, bridges that have collapsed, but which are being attended to by the Department of Transport. And in conclusion, Commissioner, we're making a point that the poor gravel road access in rural areas affects 80% of the JGDM population, which is quite a significant number. And that has a significant impact on the access to and provision of government services, as well as the viability and growth of our local economy in Jokabi. Thank you.
Thank you very much, MM, for your presentation. As indicated earlier, we will now engage with your submission. I'll start on my left Dr. Fobosi.
Right, thank you, Commissioner. I must thank you, Mr. Nonjola, for the presentation. I think you've just, shared, the conditions, in geography. It's disappointing in terms of what is happening there. It's just in terms of the responsibilities. We know what is happening there. We know very much, and you just said that communities have reported some of the issues that are happening, especially in terms of poor access to roads, right? And if you can just share with the Commission in terms of, what has been the municipality's response to the reports, from the community, right? Can you please share that? How did you respond? And if you can also just, while responding to that, just tell us in terms of, the plans and the municipality's plans to address, some of, I mean, 80% is a large percentage, of people that are affected, by the lack of access to education, but it's also access to healthcare, right? I know that area, I know it very well, and I know that there's a large number of people who can't even get to the city because of the poor road, right? So I'm from there, I know it very well. So the condition is not good. Can you please share with us in terms of the plans to address some of the conditions there and what has been the response to the community's concerns? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Folosi, for the question. As I indicated earlier on, that as the district municipality, we're only performing the function of roads maintenance on behalf of the Eastern Cape Department of Transport. And we've only been assigned the area of Walter Sisulu, traveling between Danger Zook and Sahrc town. And we raised that point very sharply with the Department of Roads and Transport, and they attended to that road. So the response has quite been positive from the Department of Roads and Transport when these complaints are being raised. And I did indicate in my presentation that we are entering into negotiations with the Department of Roads and Transport to extend our mandate to cover even the areas of Sinqu, that is the Sahrc Herschel area, and Elundini as well. Currently, the Department of Roads and Transport has appointed another service provider to maintain the roads in those two rural municipalities.
Right, thank you, sir. In terms of the petitions, you just referred to one that is from Sahrc. So, if you can just share with the Commission in terms of the context of those petitions, like as in how many from which municipalities or districts did you receive petitions from, and what was the context? Because we just want to get the real experiences of the people there in those areas, right? Because we know that the people are experiencing the poor access to education in their own way, or to healthcare for that matter. And also in your response, if you can just speak in terms of the access to healthcare in terms of the ambulances to the rural areas, the deep rural areas. Some of the people that find it hard, to access healthcare. And so, what is then your responsibility in that regard? And you're right. If you can just speak to those, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doc, once again. Maybe I must also make this point that the type of petitions that we receive would either relate to a proclaimed provincial road or an access road. Proclaimed provincial road is the responsibility of the Eastern Cape Department of Roads and Transport. Access roads are a responsibility of a local municipality. And so the access roads are being attended to by the local municipalities. And we've had such cases where the community would complain about the access road and would draw the attention of the local municipality, and the municipality will then take the necessary measures and put the necessary plans in place to have the road fixed. But I must also say that it is not possible. We found that it is not possible for the LMs to attend all of the challenges at the same time, owing to financial constraints, resource constraints. But they do make an attempt. We've had about 2 petitions from the area of Elundini. They related to access road. And so Elundini local municipality attended to those. In cases, as I've said, where it is a proclaimed provincial road, we then refer it to the Department of Transport, like the one that I've just cited, affecting the community of Sahrc in the area of Sahrc. Department of Transport attended to. There are big projects that are currently underway, I must say. For instance, there is a tar road project that is implemented between Sahrc and Umlamli Hospital. The project has been going on for some time. There's been a lot of toing and froing. Yesterday, the executive mayor raised the matter with the Honorable Premier of the Eastern Cape to say that project is now stalled and would wish to see it being fast-tracked because the communities have been complaining to us. It's poor roads to a hospital, Umlamli Hospital. So there are instances where it's somewhat difficult for the community to access those health facilities and even police stations at times. But I wouldn't say that it is a widespread problem. There would be those, couple of them, communities that are affected by such. But on the whole, there would be 1 or 2 clinics in one ward or 1 or 2 villages that are accessible to the communities. But I must also indicate that we, as the district municipality, our attention has been drawn to those frustrations by the community to say they find it hard to access a school, they find it hard to access primary healthcare facility, and that gets taken up with the relevant department from our side as the Joe Kabi District Municipality.
Right, thank you. No further questions, Commission. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Fobosi. Dr. Kata.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, MM, for the presentation. It is very helpful, but it's also very concerning. Because I want to draw your attention to perhaps your last comment where you said that the concerns are not that widespread. whereas you've indicated that 80% of the roads, 80% of the communities live in rural areas, and we know that these roads are not surfaced. We know as a province only 9% of the roads are surfaced. And indicating, and I think there was there's a report stating that the unemployment rate is only increasing within the district. And the most concerning, I think, is the Elundini local municipality, which reported in 2020, I think it's a 2022 report, a 48% of unemployment. And you've also indicated that most of these residents would then make use of government services. Obviously, they would want access to SASSA grants. Now, I fear that we are not looking at this from a perspective of the urgency that it requires. And I take my hat off to you that as the district, you have been able to assist in the Walter Sisulu municipality. But I'm concerned that the local municipalities, the other two, we may have an issue there. Your hospital, the Elundeni, or let me just get the wording wrong. The one that you mentioned last, yes, was highlighted as a point of excellence. It's a hospital that has been highlighted as a point of excellence. But that hospital doesn't have a surfaced road, and that we are still struggling to get the road there. I would like to know from you, how long has that, the Umlamli hospital, how long have we struggled to get that project going? When was the inception of the project? And you mentioned the executive mayor escalated it this week, again, that the project has stalled. But that's not the only hospital that we have. So I'm concerned that it might be quite a big issue, especially looking at the unemployment rates within the municipalities, the fact that 80% are sitting in rural communities. They need the services. They need these clinics. And I understand you say, but then maybe they can go to the next one and the next. But from your own testimony, you're saying that the costs of transport is increasing. So how are they affording this? So perhaps that's just a context I want you to understand where I'm coming from. So perhaps mine would be, what has been your consistent engagement with the Department of Transport to get the service level agreement over and handed to the district? Because clearly you're saying that you are a success story in one of the municipalities. And what has the response been? That's number one. Then the project in respect of Umlamli, how long has that been stalled? And let's leave it for now, at those two questions. Thank you so much. I may have follow-ups.
Thank you very much, Doc, for the questions and for drawing my attention to perhaps some inconsistencies in the presentation, but it could only be perhaps the context. It is true that we have 80% of the population residing in the rural areas and located in 2 local municipalities. And as you would know, with the gravel roads, you can fix them today, but when rain comes, that the gravel road would be washed away, and we'll have to do it over and over again, and which becomes much more expensive. Not that the government really is not doing anything, but because of the nature of the area, I've said in my presentation, we are generally a mountainous region, particularly in the area of Sahrc and Mount Fletcher. And so roads, even after they've been fixed, once rains come, particularly now in summer, with the heavy downpours that we're experiencing, so roads would definitely be washed away. But not all of them would become inaccessible. or would become impassable. They will be in a poor state, but still a drivable roads. If, for instance, I may just draw your picture, and Dr. Fobosi would know this, that if you want to access Mabele, Dangershoek, which are the far-flung villages in the area of Sahrc, there are two routes that you can use from town. You can use the Koboshane route, which is the third road. From Sahrc up to Koboshane is third. And then from Koboshane up to Mabele, Dangershoek is gravel road. Sometimes it is in a poor state, but most of the time it's really drivable. I've been there. So that far-flung area of Dangershoek, Mabele, has an access road. It's a provincial proclaimed road. If you look at take the other side, the eastern side of Herschel, the Blikana, Rockcliffe, Pelandaba, they are affected by this road that I've spoken about, which passes through Mlamli Hospital. So the provincial road that comes from the town of Sahrc up to the far-flung area of, say, Pelandaba is still passable. But along the way, you would have to have access roads that are maintained by the local municipalities. And those access roads may be leading to schools, may be leading to the hospital, sorry, to the clinic, not hospital, because all hospitals are serviced in the area of Sahrc at least, are serviced by the provincial roads. So they are accessible. The area, the western side of Sahrc, you will have Herschel, for instance, is tied up to Lady Grey, but then you'd have other provincial roads going to Ntsimekweni, Manxeba, from the Slindini side, which is a provincial proclaimed road, still passable. You go to the Orange River side, Ndofela, Bikizana, there's still a road that is drivable through from Sahrc when you off-ramp on the road to third road to Zastron. So that's the area of Sahrc. I'm just trying to paint a picture of that generally you wouldn't have a situation where the community is completely cut off and so cannot access completely whatever form of government service. The project of Mlamli started, I think, just after COVID-19, around about 2020, yes. And at some point it collapsed. It stopped, I would say. It stopped until this year when the MEC responsible for roads in the Eastern Cape went to relaunch it, and the same service provider contractor was brought back on site, and it restarted, but it has since stopped again, and which is why then yesterday at the meeting we attended with the executive mayor. The mayor then raised it with the owner. So I would say it has been for 4 years almost the project, or 3 to 4 years or so, that the project has not been completed. It started well, and the hopes of the community were high that it was going to be finished soon and it was going to be tied, but yeah, there were problems. There is, however, still an alternative route which passes through, in the village up to, and then rejoins the route to Mlamli Hospital. So it's not completely undrivable or impassable, but there are, as I've said, goings and froings and toings around the project. The second question, Doc, I'm sorry, I missed it.
Department of Transport on the service level agreement.
Yes. Well, There are contracts that are currently running with other service providers because we are almost a service provider, though we are government as a district municipality. But they have appointed other service providers and they have contracts that are currently running. So until those contracts have run their full course, I do not think that maybe the department would really enter into an agreement with us. I think that's the stumbling block for now. For now.
Just a quick follow-up. So those would be, so you've given an indication of the provincial roads, though, that are accessible and drivable, but not necessarily the access roads. And the access roads, if I understand you correctly, those would be the responsibilities of these local municipalities. Okay. And they have contracts with service providers. But these service providers are not to build roads. Are they only for maintenance?
The local municipalities use their internal teams to maintain. But to construct a road, they appoint an external service provider for a fixed period of time. And so once that road has been completed, they then bring in their team, their internal team to maintain.
What I'm just trying to understand is the service level agreement with these others. Are they for maintenance of the gravel access roads? And these are not infrastructure projects. These are maintenance projects to maintain gravel roads. Is my understanding? I just want you to help me understand better.
Service I made reference to appointed by the Eastern Cape Department of Roads and Transport to maintain provincially proclaimed gravel roads in the area of Elundini and in the area of Sahrc for maintenance, gravel roads. Access roads are a responsibility of the local municipality. Yes. When there's a new project to be implemented, road construction of an access roads, local municipalities would normally appoint a contractor to do that. Once that project has been completed, they then use their own internal team to maintain those access roads.
Sorry, Commissioner. And in your view, is that being done properly by these local municipalities? Because what I'm hearing is that the words are being used as passable, alternative routes, all of that. Now that comes with a bit of, extra effort on the resident side. So I'm just trying to ascertain, what is our benchmark here? Is it passable?
No, the benchmark is that the road must be drivable, must be in a good condition, and as far as possible, there must be no potholes on the road. It must be smooth. But as I've said, there would be circumstances where the road, generally, the bigger length of the road is smooth, but there are potholes here and there, and there are areas that need to be maintained. Well, I would say that the municipalities do the best they can under the circumstances of limited resources. But there is much more to be done. So the amount of work that needs to be done in terms of road maintenance, I think is just overwhelming for them, and more needs to be done. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Maybe let's just zone into your last statement. Municipalities have done the best that they can, but more can be done. And the challenge you are saying, or the problem, is limited resources. If they have done the best that they can, and then you say more can be done, who needs to do the more, and what do they need to do the more?
It is the local municipalities themselves, Commissioner. I wouldn't like to say they are failing in executing their responsibilities of maintaining access roads. For I understand fully the context within which they operate in terms of the resource constraints. They have quite a number of access roads that they need to maintain with a very limited budget. If we take, for instance, the example of Sahrc local municipality, they receive about approximately 50 million from the national fiscus to to implement infrastructure grant. And that is not for maintenance. It's only to implement new projects, construct new access roads, and provide other infrastructure for sport, for instance, from the same allocation. And then for maintenance, they have to use their own funding, which is very difficult to get in a rural setup, where you would have no more than, say, 100 households that can pay, for the services that are being rendered by the municipality, and the bigger portion of the population is indigent.
So are we saying, that until there's more money coming in the form of grants to the municipalities, the situation will stay the same? And I'm asking this in light of the current national and global economic climate.
That until such time that there are, of course, money is never enough, but if the allocation is increased, at least they would be able to cover a bigger portion of the work that they need to do in terms of roads. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. There are no other questions on my side. Dr. Kata, Dr. Fobosi, any follow-up questions? Dr. Fobosi has a follow-up question.
Thank you, Commissioner. If you can just please just report or speak on the state of roads and in particular Elundini, because I think you've been speaking to Sahrc. I know that there's very poor access from for example, from Ehlangobo, Mdeni to Upper Tsitsana. The road is very bad there. So sometimes there's even stones that on top of. So the state is not good. Is that an access road? And if it is, what has the municipality done to ensure that that road is fixed? Because people in that area, in those rural areas, have to, for example, get old age people have to get their grants from towns in Maclear. So imagine then in that poor state of road, it means that they can't access. And even some of the students or learners have to go to schools in a far distant, walking long distance to go to school. So the state is not good. what is the response, of the municipality and the provincial government as well? What is the plan going forward to make sure that some of those issues are addressed? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Fobosu, once again. As I said to Commissioner Ntuli, that the challenge or the problem of road maintenance is just too big and overwhelming for the local municipalities. The roads that you're talking about are access roads which are supposed to be maintained by the local municipality. I do know that they have the yellow fleet, they have staff members, but they may just not be enough, to have all of those roads maintained. But I do want to commit that from this hearing, from this inquiry, I will have a session with my counterparts in the local municipalities to draw their attention to some of these roads that you have mentioned, to say, in fact, we must look at all of our access roads and look at all of the provincial roads within that area, and then see what best could be done within a short space of time.
Thank you, sir. No further questions, Commissioner.
Thank you, Dr. Kata. There are no further questions from ourselves. We want to thank you for your time this morning, but before we then end our session, can I please give you an opportunity to make closing remarks if you have any?
Thank you very much, Commissioner Ntuli. Mine really would be to thank the Commission for the opportunity it has given us as Jogabi District Municipality to make a contribution to this very important work that the Commission is doing, and wish to commit ourselves that we will do the best we can to ensure that our communities do have access to the services that they are supposed to have access to and they are supposed to enjoy as provided for in the Constitution. We are a government, we are part of government machinery, but even though we have limited resources, but we will do the best we can with the limited.
Morning, sir. My name is Eileen. I'm from the Human Rights Commission here in the Eastern Cape. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. I will hand you over to Commissioner Ntuli now for the administrative processes and the administration of the oath.
Molo Putin Njani? Espirile. Welcome once again. My name is Commissioner Ntuli. In addition to Dr. Kata, I'm joined by Dr. Fobosi on my left, and we make up the panel this morning. We thank you very much for your participation and attendance to this inquiry. Before we begin, as Dr. Kata has indicated, we must complete our administrative processes. Do you have any objections to taking the oath this morning? No, I don't have. Okay. Yeah, here, please switch that on.
No, I don't have any objections.
Thank you, sir. Then in that case, may I kindly ask you to stand?
Acting there as the head currently.
Thank you, sir. Can you kindly spell your surname for the record, please?
Mtyida.
Mtyida.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
I must just add that I'm stepping in the shoes of Mr. Lance Johnston, our acting regional general manager.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mtyida. Please remain standing, having indicated no objections to taking the oath. Do you then swear that the evidence you shall give this morning will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, kindly raise your right hand and state, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mtyida. You are duly sworn in. You may be seated.
Thank you.
The time is now 9:42. You will have approximately 20 to 30 minutes to offer us your presentation, and thereafter the panel will engage with you. The floor is yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doc. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I will just go briefly to a rough at a glance, the rough mandate, what in terms of our statutory obligations expected to do, our product services and offerings, and also the claims process, how does it work, and who qualifies to claim, and also the time period to lodge a claim to the road accident victims. So I will briefly touch on those areas and how a person can go about lodging that claim with us as a road accident fund. Firstly, in terms of our mandate, RAF is a road accident fund, is a statutory body in terms of the provisions of the Road Accident Fund Act of 1996 as amended in 2008. The mandate, it covers the following: all persons that are involved or suffer injuries or suffer the loss of life as a result of the negligent driving of motor vehicles within the borders of South Africa. That is the RAF mandate. It covers and compensates all those victims. You sustain bodily injuries, or you lose, there's a loss of life because of the road accident. So RAF is expected to provide a fair and a reasonable compensation. The Act also serves to indemnify the insured driver, the person who was negligent, against liability incurred as a result of that loss or damage wrongfully caused to the third party. So we indemnify the wrongdoer. Then a person now can just lodge a claim with the Road Accident Fund directly or through the help of a legal representation. The RAF indemnifies the insured driver against claims for damages in respect of bodily injuries or the death of a breadwinner. The indemnity therefore does not apply to claims for damage to motor vehicles, to personal effects, the buildings, luggage, goods conveyed in a vehicle. Those ones are excluded in terms of the RAF mandate. Stream, we are funded through the fuel levy. There is a certain amount of money that we receive for every liter of fuel, that is the form that is petrol or diesel, that the motorists, when they go to the filling station, a certain amount there goes towards the Road Accident Fund. That is how we are, as RAW, we are, as RAF, through that fuel which is sold. I will now just come briefly to the products that we offer. What is it that a person can claim for once you are involved in a road accident fund? Number one, I will just separate them into two. There are injury benefits, what we call injury benefits. And there are also what we call death benefits. I will start with the injury benefits. The injury benefits, there is what we'll call, number one, general damages. General damages refers to pain, suffering, and the loss of amenities of life that the third party has suffered due to the injury that he has gone through or experienced. So that's what it covers for pain, suffering, and general the loss of those amenities. So that's the benefit or the product number one that we offer. In terms of the amended Act of 2008, it says it must be serious injuries and not minor injuries. So we normally depend there on the medical reports or medical legal reports that we normally get from medical practitioners or the specialists or the experts that determine the seriousness of the injury. Product number two is what we call medical expenses. The third party can claim for those both past or future medical expenses from RAF if they are directly related to the accident that he has sustained. Number three, on the injury benefits, we do have what we call the loss of earnings. There is the past loss of earnings, and there is also what we call the future loss of earnings. As long as the third party can prove that, they do qualify to be compensated as such, that they have the accident has negatively affected their income or their livelihood. So there is that loss of earnings product as well on the injury benefit side. And on the death benefit side, there are two products that we offer. Firstly, it is the funeral expenses benefit. The person that gets compensated is the person who was responsible to pay for the funeral expenses. And we only compensate what we call the necessary costs. And also for tombstone costs, we do not cover for those. And also other stuff like tent hiring and other stuff. No. On the funeral benefit side, we only cover and pay according to the invoice that we receive from the parlor. And also another benefit product on the death benefit side is what we call the loss of support. If the person who happens to be a breadwinner and dies in the road accident, the dependents may claim from the road accident fund both the past and the future loss of support. But they must provide proof that this person or what type of income or work go to the time frame. The time frame normally.
Mr. Mchida, I don't mean to disturb your flow, but the main focus and our interest in this inquiry is the effect of the nature and the quality of the road's infrastructure on the life and the livelihoods of persons in the Eastern Cape. And of course, information received by us from yourselves as the Road Accident Fund onto the impact of the road infrastructure on your own work and also on the claims that you receive would be very useful for purposes of the investigation that we are conducting. So while the information you are providing is important, what is more important and most important for us is the relationship between roads infrastructure.
If I may just come on that one, I think the information that we received in terms of the statistics, although these ones are from our road safety unit, these ones is based between the period of 2017 and 2021. This is how they have. Of that number, the OR Tambo had 21%, Amatole 15%, OR Tambo District Municipality, and then Amatole District Municipality was 15%. Christiani District Municipality also had 15%. Nelson Mandela Bay, it was 12%. Buffalo City Metro, 11%. Alfred Nzo, it was 10%. Sarah Batman District, it was 10%. And also the last one was the Joe Gabi District. Also, it was at 5%. But these deaths were mainly for young people. Just need to between the ages of the road infrastructure. Well, at this point in time, what I can say, Chair, is that the Eastern Cape, in terms of the road fatalities and road accidents, according to the information the states we received from our road safety unit, was that it was number 3 after Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal. So in other words, Eastern Cape is one of those provinces that has high accident rate. As I've said, that maybe I will provide the exact figures later on. So, but what I can say that maybe the infrastructure in the province and also its maintenance or failure thereof.
Your presentation, I'll start with Dr. Kata on my right, and then we'll go to Dr. Fobosi. Dr. Kata?
Thank you, Commissioner. I think, Mr. Tira, the last 5 minutes of your presentation was very helpful. Because what I heard from you is that the Eastern Cape has a high accident rate, third nationally. What I heard from you is that the road infrastructure or the lack of maintenance may be contributing to this. And what I heard is that there is data available in terms of the numbers specifically, but you may have to provide that for us, the updated version. So I think the clarity that you provided here at the end is for me quite valuable. Just maybe just a final view from your side. So I see in your annual report from 2020, there's 156,313 claims, new claims, nationally. And you say that third in line there would be the Eastern Cape for new claims. It's not necessarily value of claims, is that correct? Or is it fatalities? I just want to understand that the data. Maybe you can just assist me on that?
I think that one is not the fatalities, it's just the claim include. Yes.
And the data that you've provided is the fatalities?
Yes, that's right.
So would you agree with me to say that fatalities can also be as a lack of immediate assistance at a road accident?
Yeah, I would also agree with you.
Hypothetically, let's put that like this. I think from my side, and also just interesting, I'm struggling to find on the annual report the breakdown of statistics. So if you can assist us with the updated statistics, and also perhaps where is a portal where one would get the updated statistics, or whether if that in fact is available to members of the public, because your annual reports don't mention the word Eastern Cape or a breakdown. It's very much bulk data. Maybe I'm just not seeing it because you are the expert here, but that would be very helpful from my side. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thanks, Dr. Kata. Dr. Fobosi?
Well, thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Mr. Mkida.
Yes.
Thank
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Just one question from my side. I think the presentation was detailed, especially toward the end. You were more focused. If I heard you correctly, I think you said between 2017 and 2021, there were approximately 750 fatalities, right?
7,000.
7,000. Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, 7,000.
Yes, 7,000 fatalities. Right. So now, what I'm interested in, if you could please share with the Commission. I know you broke those down into districts, right? The numbers, but it would be interesting to know whether those fatalities was a result of the state of the road, whether they were in rural areas, where did those happen in particular? I think that's what I would like to know. Where did they happen? Did they happen in town or in rural areas because of the state of the road? What was the context? Do you know? Please share with the commission. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Commission. Let me just go through here. That is in terms whether the contributing factor is it the human factor or the environment, the road infrastructure, or whether maybe it was because that's what you need to clarity on.
Yes, please.
Oh, okay. The stats that I'm having them told here is that 40% was because of the pedestrians. And then passengers, it was 31%. Drivers at 28%. And then the cyclists was at 2%. In terms of whether it was the human factor and whether it's the vehicle factor or the road factor, I think that one maybe I also have to forward it later. But I have to maybe get an updated version and then give you the exact state of affairs.
Right, thank you. Yeah, please do share that information with the commission. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Fobosi, and thank you, Mr. Mchita. Can you just repeat? It was 40% pedestrians, 31% passengers. Drivers was how?
28%.
28%. And this is across the province?
Yes, that's what the stats here, it says KZ, Gauteng, KZN, Eastern Cape. So maybe let's say those three.
Those three combined?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But you don't have a sense of the statistics for Eastern Cape alone?
Yes, that's what I say. Let me just get an updated version, the latest information, and then I will gladly share that with the commission. Okay,
no, thank you very much. Are you able just to go back to the numbers you have given us of the 7,000 fatalities between 2017 and 2021? Are you able to tell us in the Eastern Cape, in that period, how many fatalities there were? That one was the national, or was it Eastern Cape?
That was the Eastern Cape road fatalities deaths.
Okay. And how much did those fatalities cost the RAF?
I think on that one also I have to, I've not yet quantified, because at times others they claim, and their claim they take time to settle. So maybe we have to just get our business analyst to give us the updated the States Department to say between these claims of 2017 and 21, between these accidents, how many were lodged with the RAF and how many were settled and how much did it cost the fund. So I think that one also, I will take note of it and also provide a comprehensive report.
Okay.
Yes.
No, we would appreciate that very much. And then the statistics on the causes of the accidents, it would be interesting to find out what the conditions are. For example, when we say the cause is 40% pedestrians, what do we mean? What is the general behavior of pedestrians that is causing 40% of accidents? Are they crossing where they are not supposed to be crossing, or are there other reasons? So if maybe you can assist us with that as well, it would be very much appreciated. Similarly, when we talk about cyclists, are they riding in non-designated areas, or are there any other factors that are contributing to this, so that we can get a full sense of the relationship between these causes and the question at hand, which is road infrastructure. And we are only able to do so once we get a clear sense of what we mean by these statistics. Then, lastly, these numbers you have given us, the breakdown in terms of the accidents per district. The interesting exercise would be to assess, for example, when we say Tambo has the highest number of accidents or fatalities at 21%, and Jokabi has the lowest. The question, or the big research question, would be, what is the state of the roads in these two districts? And how would that help us to assess road infrastructure as a contributing factor to Tambo being the highest and Jokabi being the lowest, as just a matter of example. And this is the kind of work that one would expect the RIF to do, but also recommend that the RIF should do. Now, related to that is then my last question, which is, what is the relationship that you have with the provincial government, especially the Department of Roads and Transport, but also local governments as the responsible institutions for access roads, especially noting that Eastern Cape is a rural province. So what kind of relationship does the RAF have with these institutions, if any?
Thank you, Chair. I think on that one, I've also noted that maybe a clear breakdown as to maybe what could be one of those causes. I think that one we will also make a follow-up on it. In terms of the relationship with the provincial office of the Department of Transport and also the municipalities, I must say that for instance, I know that RAF, the Road Safety Unit here in the Buffalo City, had a number of meetings before COVID regarding this road here, Black Road. There were a number of accidents that were taking place on the Black Road, that is the road between Gombo and Mdantsane. And they were meeting, I think, the district municipality as well as the metro, to say maybe, because there were a number of claims that we were receiving, because especially pedestrians. And then they came to say maybe RAF can do something about the state of the road because of the number of claims that we're getting, the office there in East London. So I think maybe that relationship will need to be strengthened, especially in the province. I think 2 weeks or 3 weeks back, once again, our road safety unit had been in partnership with different municipalities. There were youth dialogues, and also there were proposals that came up from those youth dialogues. I remember they were there at Mbashe, they were there at Mzimvubu, local municipalities, that's Mbashe, that is Aituchwa and the rest there. Mzimvubu, that is Mount Frere and Mount Elif, and other one was Nyandini, which consists of Lebode, Sibangweni, that site. They were there because RAF works, our head office is in Pretoria. We are a regional office. So mostly of these units of road safety are based in the head office. So the guys, they do come from time to time and engage the local municipalities based on the type of accidents that we normally experience in the region. So there are those stakeholder engagements that are taking place. But I think that road safety unit maybe will have to strengthen these relationships, because what they said was that after these dialogues, because the municipalities was there, they need to come with concrete proposals. If, for instance, we will need speed humps, or the road will need to be repaired, will need to close the potholes, and so on and so on. So that was the purpose of those engagements with the local municipalities. So what I can say is that the work is being done, there's work in progress, but as to the implementation, maybe then those proposals must have timelines to say maybe within the next financial year, they must have been implemented. So I think that is the work that we also, here at the regional level, we can engage our head office to say, please, let's make sure that the proposals that have been put forward by the communities to say maybe, well, others, they fall outside the purview of RAF, you need SANRAL there. But those that can fund, make sure that maybe they are done within a certain time frame. Thanks, man.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nchida.
That's right.
Yes. That is the end of my questions. I don't know if Dr. Kata is a follow-up. Dr. Kata does.
Just a quick one. I just want to understand that correctly. So RAF will have funds available for these types of projects that would come from the community. Is that what?
That's true.
And can you provide us perhaps an idea of the amount of funds that is available and the process that will have to be undergone to have access to that funds?
Because that one is within the national head, the head office. So at a regional level, we do not have those funds, let me put it that way. We are just processing claims at a regional level. But it is our national office that goes out to the municipalities, but working, of course, with the regional office to say, these are the municipalities we'll be visiting in the Eastern Cape. So there are funds allocated, but I don't exactly how much is allocated there.
Can we, though, ask that details as well? I would like to have a breakdown of how much has been spent in the Eastern Cape from RAF and in which municipalities, perhaps for the past few years, 3 years to 5 years, if that's possible.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thanks, Dr. Kata. Dr. Phobos? No. Yeah. No further questions from the rest of us. Then thank you very much. Sir, I will offer you an opportunity to make closing remarks if you have any before then we close our engagement with yourself.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think this inquiry is important because it deals with really some of really the human rights issues because these accidents, they do affect, they are negatively as people, some of us who are working directly with the people, because at times it's sad, some of the stories, you'll find that the whole family has died in an accident. So it's one of those sad stories that we deal with. I remember when I was still in Amtata, I think there was 2 grandchildren that were left. The whole family had passed. So I think improving the state of affairs of our roads and also people complying with the rules of the road will go a long way to really make life better, especially for the citizens of the province. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, sir. We thank you also for the time that you have taken to be with us today and also for the information that you have given, which has enriched our process of investigation. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. We wish you all the best and we wish you a safe trip back to the office.
Thanks
thank
a
you.
lot.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
joined us here today for participating in the inquiry into roads infrastructure. I'm going to hand you over to Commissioner Ntuli to proceed with the administrative details of the rest of your presentation. Thank you so much.
Molweni, bantu bakithi. Ninjani? Asiphilile. Igama uCommissioner Ntuli. Angihambi ngedwa, ngiphelezela uyena kuDr. Khatha njengoba seyibikile kanye nodokotela uFobosi esandleni sami sesinxele. Ngicela ukubuza abantu bakithi ukuthi nithanda ukuthi sikhulume ngolimi lwesintu noma isingisi silungile. Okay, angazi ngathi banga ona lapha I-microphone. Sisithembe ngicela sisize.
Alright, ngiyakhuluma nelwimi lesintu noba ninomix akho problem.
Okay,
Thank
okay.
you.
Siyabonga. Kushuthi kuzomela sithole uTolika. Uzokwazi ukuthi usitolikele sisi? Okay. uTolika ke sizomthola. Angizwa? Ngithi siyamthola uMtoliki. Siyabonga kakhulu sinibingeleleke futhi ngaphambi kokuthi siqale umsebenzi wethu ngicela ukubuza ukuthi nizokhuluma nonke noma kuzokhuluma oyedwa wena.
Oh, okay, but bazanincedisa.
Okay, kanjalo ke ngaba nenkinga uma kuukuthi sithatha isifungo.
No, asinankinga.
Nonke aninankinga. Okay, ngicela ke nisukume. Ngicela omunye nomunye asho igama lakhe nesibongo kanye nendawo aphuma kuyona. Uma kuukuthi khona inhlangano enihambisana nayo niyisho, uma ingekho ayikho futhi inkinga, ningasho nje igama nesibongo nendawo la eniphuma khona.
Oh, alright, mandizibulisele. Amandla Bushula, ndisuka ngu-founder and chairperson for the 5th time with Dakets Disabled Center phaya eDakets. Enkosi.
Siyabonga bhuti, olandelayo.
Molweni bethu. Molweni.
Molo sisi.
Nginonzami uXhosana isene. I'm from Dakets Disabled Center. I'm a deputy chairperson of Mandla Bushula and assistant of Mandla Bushula. Enkosi.
Molweni.
Molo.
So Dakets igama lekuri boy fani yam boy. So Dakets South now.
Siyabonga.
Ngalaba ku disability nam. Ndiwalilongo le disability nam.
Siyabonga baba. Baba uBushula, umama uXhosana kanye no baba uBoy. Njengoba ke senishilo ukuthi aninankinga ngesifundo, niyathembisa ukuthi ubufakazi enizobuthula namhlanje buyiqiniso, buzoba yilona kuphela iqiniso and kuzoba iqiniso kuphela. Uma kunjalo ngicela niphakamise isandla sokudla bese nethi inkosi ingisize.
Enkosi ingisize.
Siyabonga kakhulu umbuzo ekhona. Ngicela ke ukunika nini intambo neno 20 to 30 minutes.
Enkosi kakhulu ma'am, mandibulele. As I said, ndingumandla Bushula from Dakets Disabled Center, and ndingu-founder wayo Endingu-chairperson wayo for the 5th time. I-Targets Disability Center, i-aim and objectives zayo. Sabona nonkosikazi wami ngosekhoyo into okokubana abantu baphila nenkubazeko bayastruggleish bayasokola here and there.
Baba Bushula,
Ma'am.
ngoba ke kulesi sigaba ngizocela kube khona utolika. Ngizocela nje ufake kancane bese udedela utolika atolike uphinde ubuyele udedela utolika atolike.
Oh, okay. And sabona into kokubana abantu njengoba besokola nje benziwa slaves i-washings abantu bo-recyclisha njalo njalo. Yes. Sabona ke into kubana abanye abantu bangabantu abathanda into kokubana abananto kwenza mababheke ezithaveni nasezishipini bachithe ixesha labo khona apho.
Okay. We saw that most people had nothing to do and they would spend their times in taverns and shibins.
So sagqiba into kokubana make singene udoor to door sibahlanganisele ndawoninye sibonisane xa sisonke uba akukho nto sinothi xa sidibene siyenze na.
We decided to do a door-to-door to convene them with them and see if we could not come up with something that we can do as a collective.
Sathi kanti ke siyichanile because abantu abaninzi ba-talented banazo izakhono. Sathi ke masizamdibaneni sidevelope ezakhono banazo.
We noted that it turned out that we realized that many people were talented and we decided that what can we do to improve their skills.
Umzekelo ke pha siyathunga, senza intsimbi, siyenza negadi. Ezinye ke iproject sasizitagethile. Yayi-project ye-woodwork ne-project ye-leather work.
For example, some of the things that we do there are sewing beads and woodwork.
But ke i-woodwork ne-leather work unangoku asikafumani mancedo mhlawumbi singathi ke sifumane izinto khona. But ke uqhubekeka nothunga kona siyaqhubekeka nentsimbi neza traditional dolls nokwenza imiqamelo.
We have not yet received any funding for woodwork and leather work, but the others are going on fine, just fine.
Kule center yethu ke sine challenges esinazo njengoba singabantu abane-disability into yokubana sifika ngo-8 siyophuma ngo-4 kwi-12 meter container engenambane since sayinikwa i-office of the premier ngo-2018.
They work in their container from 8 to 4, but their container does not have any electricity. That is one of the challenges that they have.
Nakwela cala ke le garden project siyazama pha siyaqhuba but ke akukho bantu basupportayo so funeka yonke into izithole into sizithenge ngokwethu ngezo sentana sithi ke sibe nazo so asikabi na funding esinayo.
We also don't have any funding for the gardening project, so we buy the seedlings with our own funds.
Enye ke challenges nayo pha kwi-community yethu apho sihlala khona kukho abantu abahlala ematyotyombeni emagalini and kunzima ukuba bahambe bayo-attenda bona njengathi basi-attenda. Banzima kakhulu ke kubantu abaphethe i-white canes like mna okanye abantu abahamba nge-wheelchair because indlela eyapha ayenziwanga i-gravel road.
Some of our members who live in the squatter area are struggling to travel to the center because the roads are quite bad because they are gravel roads.
Okunye ke siphinde sibe ne-challenge yemoto ezibalekayo ekuhlaleni. Kuba nzima ke ngamanye amaxesha because isenta i-Darkets i-dividwe into two, ine-south ne-north. So ufuna sisuka e-south sibheke e-north and ke ngoku itaxi ziyabaleka right round the area.
They also have a challenge of speeding cars in the area, including taxis, because Darkets is divided into two, south and north. So sometimes they have to travel to either of the sides, and it's difficult to travel because cars always speed in the area.
Xa ndizonikela koogxabam, okunye ke into esine-challenges zazo, sine-challenge nee-ward committees okanye nee-ward councillors, because ii-ward councillors kukho imali esuka phaa kamasipala eziyinikwayo, I think xa kuphaa ngoJuni, but udisability asimboni thina efumana enento ayithengelwayo ayinikwayo kulaa mali yakhe eward.
We also have a problem with ward councillors and ward committees because there is no funding allocated for disability programs in the allocation that they get from the municipality.
And ke kusesinayo nengxaki ye-stigma, into kokubana sithatheleka phansi kakhulu ekuhlaleni, asihoyakali. So ke injongo yethu sasiyimisela yona i-Darkest Disabled Center
for ukuthi add more. Ixesha elininzi phaa ingqesho kuyaqeshwa akuthathwa phaa ku-disability, kuqeshwa phaa kwaba bangapha community bodwa. Xa uqeshwa phaa uceba akahambi ayothatha abanye ku-disability okukongeza phaa. Sihleli phaa kulaa center kuhlale kungaqeshwa bathi basikwazi sisebenza nabantu abadisabled bo.
Yes, the ward councillor discriminates against them as they are not considered for employment opportunities.
Sibe siyazi thina ukuthi umuntu odisabled unalilungelo lakhe, noba uhamba nge-wheelchair uyakwazi ufumana umsebenzi
And they know
noba
that,
uyakhwalela.
and they know that they have a right to be considered for such opportunities despite being disabled or living with disabilities, rather.
Enkosi ke.
Molweni. Okay, nami ngingena kule ndima because okansile bethu abasikhathalele abasazi noba sizinduna na.
The ward councillors in the area have no regard for them.
Lapha ekuhlaleni kwethu sihleli kabuhlungu because siphathwa kakubi. Singathi singobantu apha enantsikeni ekuhlaleni.
zethu azigungqulwa zihamba impethu, and ke uyangena phaa wena uboni impethu zingena kuwe.
They also have a problem or challenge in Ward 15 of not having flushing toilets. As a result, their toilets have maggots.
Kwaye sihlala emagalini angena amanzi anethayo amanye, so sihlala kwezo meko zinjalo, asinazindlu i-permanent structures.
They do not have decent housing or permanent structures. They live in squatter camps that are leaking.
So ke zezo zinto ezizibona uba zingumcelimngeni, kwanento kokubana i-ward councillors ingathi aziqeqeshwanga, ndizibeka njani, azitreyinwanga for into kokubana udisability abonakale njengento existayo kwi-community.
Yes, the ward councillor, they can see that the ward councillor has not been trained to be able to deal with people living with disabilities in their areas.
And ke nee-floods nazo ezezindleleni nazo zisihambisa kabuhlungu kuba kaloku
Nizosibekela indlela eniphila ngayo njengabantu abaphila nama-disabilities.
Or should I translate that back to English?
Yes.
I thought, okay.
Yeah, there's a record here.
Can you please repeat that for me? I'm sorry. I thought I was only planning the English part.
No,
The English part. English part. Sorry. Okay.
no, it's fine. Siyabonga abantu bakithi ukuthi nisukile emakhaya nazosibekela inhlungu enihlala phansi kwazo. Siphinde futhi sibonise